panel featuring me, John Swasey.
And me, Olivia Swasey.
With no microphone.
Okay.
There.
And me, Olivia Swasey.
Yay! Thank you. We're so glad to be here. This is my second year at NDK. Olivia's first. And I tried to tell her about it, and I think it's pretty much surpassed everything I tried to explain.
It's incredible.
It is hands down just the best run show I've ever been to in my life. And I'm not just saying that because there's staff here. I'm telling you, it really, really is an amazing show. It's so well organized. You know, it's just so nice. You know, there's times when I go to a show, you know, I'm 57 years old, and I'm, you know,
No, you?
I know, I don't look a day over 56. But you get handlers, you know, or liaisons who kind of lead you around and stuff, and you know, sometimes you just want to go, listen, you're like 19, I'm a grown adult. I know how to get to the bathroom. Sure you don't want me to go? No. I mean, yes, I'm sure I don't want you to go. But anyway, so I've been doing anime for 27 years, been going to conventions for about 20 years. Back when I started doing conventions, I was always terrified to go to a convention because I was always afraid someone was going to ask me a question about a show. And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, fake! He's a fake! You know, and I was like, but I did go to my first convention in Tampa, and it was really amazing. Back then, you know, there might be 1 or 2 conventions a month. Now there's 6 and 7 a week. I mean, I have no idea how many there are this weekend, because it's a big weekend, so, you know, Labor Day. So it's just amazing to see how it's grown so much. And so Olivia is getting into it. She's, I'll tell your story.
Yeah. So I have been a voice, okay, first of all, I would like to clarify, father-daughter, not husband-wife.
Right.
Such a bummer I have to clarify.
Many hotels have made that mistake. Here's your room.
And one time at like 5 a.m. we were getting on a plane, and Dad walked up to the like flight attendant's desk or whatever, and he was like, my wife and I was like, two, John.
It was a Freudian slip.
Panel over, dude. Anyways, my name's Olivia. I've been a voice actor for about 5 years. I just graduated from the University of Houston in May with a theater degree, a minor in Spanish. And yeah, I really just started going to conventions in like 2021 was when I really started going, like trekking the circuit and stuff like that. And it's been absolutely wonderful. And it's been really, really fun, you know, getting to travel with my dad and getting to bond over stuff like that. It's really neat. But yeah, I'm a professional actor around Houston, and I'm excited to forge paths in all these new careers, all these new mediums of art, voice acting, theater, film, television, all of the above. So
And you're very, very talented.
And so are you.
Well, of course. No, she is far more talented than I am.
We could do this all day.
We could.
But anyways, this is the legacy panel, and we're here to talk about what it's like being a father-daughter team in the anime world, and also to tell, you know, weird stories of weird stuff that has happened that could only happen at an anime convention.
Or in the studio.
And in the studio. In the studio.
So I also direct full-time at Sentai Filmworks. And I have had the pleasure of directing my daughter. In fact, the latest and greatest thing, if you can, check it out. It's on High Dive, I think. It's called I'm Quitting Heroing.
It's super awesome.
It is hilarious. And she is magnificent. She plays Queen Echidna.
The Demon Queen.
The Demon Queen. And it's a comedy. So it's just a lot of fun.
It's almost like a workplace comedy. It's like The Office, but in hell.
It is, but I'm gonna get you to do something. But one of the reasons I knew I needed a strong actor, and Olivia's actually a very strong actor. She doesn't play the petite young girl. She's an old soul. Anyway,
I mean, my voice also.
But when I was watching this, and the Queen had a laugh, and I want you to do the laugh.
Okay. She laughs like, that's kind of how she laughs.
It was just so piercing. I was like, oh, that's hilarious. You get the part.
Oh.
But I will say, and I have to, I'm very careful with this, just because I work at a studio, I don't just throw her roles and stuff like that. She has to audition just like anybody else.
And that's important to me as an actor too. You know, I want to prove to myself as an artist that I'm getting what I'm getting in the industry because of my own self, you know, not because of nepotism or anything like that.
One of the first things I cast her in, or she was cast, I didn't even actually cast her, was called Review Starlight. And we had a big casting session, and we had this group of people that were gonna make the decisions and stuff, people from marketing, people from, you know, all throughout the company that were really into anime, they really knew the show well. And I said, okay, so, and the vice president of the company was there in this casting. So I had recorded all the actors' auditions, and then we gathered everybody and had a little sit down and listen to them. And a lot of them were like, oh, that's Lucy Christian, they can tell, that's Brittany Karbowski, that's, you know, yeah, we'll cast her. You know, there's a reason they keep getting cast, is because they're really, really good at what they do. And the very end, I said, I got one more I'd like you to hear.
And this was like one of my first auditions at some time.
And I said, her name is Olivia, and let's give her, I think she'd be right for this character, my attendant. And they're like, okay. And they're playing it. And I'll never forget, because I never said Olivia Swasey, I just said Olivia. I'll never forget, the vice president of the company did this. He was like, and play it. Man, she's good. Let's cast her. And I went, yes. So it was really good, but she got it on her own. It was, you know. So that was a proud moment.
And most of the time, like it's, you know, it's really sweet getting to experience moments like that at the studio. But sometimes when my dad, sometimes working with my dad is not so fun, as you can imagine. How was that possible? One time I was recording, not with my dad, I was being directed by Kyle Jones, another really talented director down at Suntime. And he was like, okay, it's just a bit part, you know, come in, your character's gonna get hit on, it's no big deal. And I was like, okay, sure, sounds good. So I come in and put the headphones on, I'm looking at the script, looking at the animation, and the other actor that was hitting on my character had already recorded their lines, so I could hear them coming through in English. And I'm like, I read my line, hear the other actor say something, don't really clock it, because I'm focused on my next line. Say my next line, the other actor starts hitting on me, and I was like, what? But I had to say the next line, so I focused back in, and then they really started hitting on me. And I was like, no, Kyle, no, is this my dad? No! And Kyle was just like, you know, I was like, I'm traumatized. So most of the time it's fun, sometimes it's weird. That's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, it is. It was fun.
You told that last year, and I couldn't believe it.
You told it last year?
Did I tell that last year?
Yeah, I asked you about it.
I tell a lot of stories about her when she's not around. So
One time, my dad used to. I didn't know what anime really was for a long time before I started really getting invested in pursuing a career in it. And so when Dad would go to conventions, I would just be like, I don't know, it's out of town, well, you know, like whatever. And I would still call him like normal, like he wasn't out of town. Like I would just like call him and talk to him or whatever. And I figured, oh, if he can't talk, like he'll not answer. And so I called him one time and he answered, and he was like, hey Olivia, say hello to 200 people in my panel right now. And I was like, Dad, I'm not wearing, like, I have a face mask on right now, you know what I mean?
it was FaceTime, by the way. It wasn't just a phone.
I was like, oh my gosh. But now traveling is a blast, except for when I locked you out that one time.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times actually.
You can tell that story.
Yeah, so been to conventions, and you know, sometimes we will stay in the same room to help save the convention money.
Actually, every time. This is the first time
This is
ever
the
I've
first
had
time
my
she's
own
had her
room.
own room, yeah. But
I have a king.
I have two twins. But anyway, when we do share a room, obviously there's 2 beds, but, so this has happened twice where she's gone off to bed, and I'm sitting there talking with somebody, having a drink or whatever, and it's like, well, I gotta go to bed. And it's late. And I get to the room and I'm like, oh man, where's my key? Well, one time it's like, where's my key? And I'm just like, I'm calling her, I'm knocking on the door. Come on, open up the door.
And I get so scared, I listen to so much true crime, so I had locked the...
That was another time, yeah. She locked the thing, and I had my key that time, and I opened the door, and I was like, what the? And I looked up, and I see that big metal thing, and I'm like, oh no. But the door was open, I was like, Olivia, Olivia, Olivia! Never woke up.
I was sleeping.
Never woke up.
I was tired.
I don't remember what I did.
Yeah, I don't know what you did either. You must have gone down and gotten another key. Oh,
No,
or
I
I woke up eventually.
I
2
think you
hours
finally
later.
woke up.
I think
Yeah.
you went back down to the bar because
Yeah,
I wasn't
there's
waking
nothing
up.
to do. I couldn't get in my room. Yeah, you finally did wake up. It's
And I
like,
had to-
why did you lock that? She goes, I was scared. Better be scared.
Do you guys have any questions for us? What do you got?
I was actually wondering, aside from that one story that you told where you were listening to him and he was having to say a line, was there any other stories where you had to work together and you didn't know it, or you did know it and you were just playing around with each other through like bloopers or something like that?
I think a lot of actors and directors do a lot of bloopers. Like sometimes directors will have actors leave Easter eggs for the next actor to come in. So, like, you know, if the actor before me is playing like a little girl that I'm like talking to her, or just a little kid or something, they'll have them like, instead of saying the line, they'll leave in like a lot of obscenities or something like that, you know, to try and get the other actor a break and laugh and stuff like that. But I think one time, they accidentally stayed in, so we don't do that so much anymore.
Yeah, we don't. We used to do it a lot as like DVD extras and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, we really. I occasionally do it, and it's just like she said. I'll leave it for another actor. I've never done it to her.
You've done it like once or
maybe
twice.
I have,
like
yeah.
once or twice.
But you know, we'll leave it for other actors, and it's funny too because sometimes, man, they'll just gloss over. They won't even
They don't even
pay
clock it
attention.
out.
It's like
They're like, it's
I don't know what happened.
That's real.
So they're like, we have to play it again. They're like, oh, like, yeah, well, real funny now. Ruined it.
Working together, sometimes there can be some situations that are a little strange because, you know, he's not only casting me in roles that like, I don't know, he's casting me objectively, not as my dad, right? So like, he's gonna cast me in a role that like maybe does have a little bit racier interactions with other characters and stuff like that. And whenever I record that stuff, we don't look at each other, we don't talk about it, we just say the lines and then we move on.
As you know, as you all know, when people ask me, it's like, well, what is anime? And it's like, well, it's Japanese animation. And think of it like this. It's everything from Hello Kitty to Hello Kitty. And everything in between. And one of the first shows that I did, she'd already done this review Starlight, and then we had another show, it was these little shorts, and called Seven Heavenly
Virtues.
Seven Heavenly Virtues.
I think that's what it is.
And I mean, it just involves these girls that are all drinking, tons of fan service, all this stuff, and Olivia's in the booth, she's like, really, Dad?
Did you want to
Somebody has to do it. If you don't want it, don't do it. But that's, you know. But
yeah.
it's, you know, that's actually one of the tough things, whether it's my daughter or just another actor, is some of the stuff that we have to direct is a little, I mean, we all know anime is anime, and it's always more fun when it doesn't involve that because it has more plot, more substance to the storylines and stuff.
Which is actually, I don't know if any of you guys stopped by the Women in Anime panel yesterday, but we talked about that a lot. And then we ended up talking about it afterwards. All the actors were like sitting around and we were chatting about it. And a bunch of the women were saying like, yeah, you know, like it can be a very uncomfortable setting, especially when there's like majority like male only like directing and engineering teams and stuff like that. And then the guys were chiming in like, yeah, it's weird. we don't like it either.
Well, and we'll ask, I'll ask every actor that, pardon me, like I'm getting ready to direct a show called Vermeil and Gold. And it's a cute little show, but it involves some racy, no nudity or anything like that. And I wanted to cast Monica Rial in the lead. And I called her and I said, hey, this is the show. You may want to check it out, but I'd love to cast you if you want to do it. And she goes, yeah, I'd love to do it. I said, well, you want to look at it? She's like, jump. You've known me for 20 years. It's fun. And I said, okay, but you always want to give that benefit.
Yeah, it's important.
It's important that the actor knows what he or she is stepping into. And really, it's also stuff where I'm kind of like, I'll tell our company, I'm like, why are we doing this again? And there was one show that I directed, and I said, something to the marketing people, and they said, well, it's what people are buying. And I was like, but that's because you're marketing to those people. It's like, if you don't have that, it wasn't porn, but it's like going, well, people are buying porn. It's like, well, because that's what, yeah, but how about if you made something over here that's not that, for everybody else, so. But it is what it is,
Yeah.
I don't get to pick and choose, so.
Yeah.
You have to, take the work that comes in. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just going to ask on that note, has there actually been any that you were approached to direct or act in? Where, they asked you and you just flat out were like, I can't do this, or,
Dude, so Kempa, I was in a show called Kempa, and I played the female Natsuru. And it was a pretty racy show, and I was only 18 when I recorded it.
Who directed it?
Shannon.
Yeah.
I was only 18 when I recorded it, and they had it like a contract before I even went in the booth, like, hey, this is a very racy show, like, you're acknowledging that, like, you're okay with this, and like, blah, 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 blah. And I ended up using a pseudonym, because I just thought that I didn't want to, like, be associated, I just didn't want my name attached to the project. Now, I super regret that. I wish that that was the first lead I had ever done, and I just wish that I would have use my actual name, Sometimes it's important, like sometimes, you're really proud of the work, like sure it was a racy show, but I still worked really hard on it, and I did what I could to make it a really good role. But that's that I've never turned anything down, well, I did the other day actually, that film.
Oh, God.
I was
so
like in like
weird.
the third round of callbacks for this feature-length film, for a lead.
Live action.
A sporty, blonde beach girl that likes to party. I was like, come on, So I was really excited about it, but then the casting director just was behaving very weird and strange and asked if we could do the callback at like my apartment and like, immediate head shake. My agent was like, hell no, like no way.
Her father was like, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah, she called me up. So, Dad, here's the situation. I'm like, the answer would be no.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it. You're an adult. You're a grown, but I'm telling you that I would not do it. It sounds weird. You don't know what's going on. No.
But aside from using a pseudonym, which was Sabrina Owens, in case anyone was curious, I switched Olivia Swasey, Sabrina Owens. But that I've never turned anything down because of content, just because like people give me a weird vibe, or I use that pseudonym that one time. What about you?
I've never turned anything down, mainly because I think it's a little different for guys than it is for girls. And I also look at the thing as we're actors. I mean, I can disassociate. I don't go, oh my gosh, what are they gonna, like it's an acting job, If I'm not gay, but if I had to play a gay man in something, I would, sure, it's an acting job, it's not anything other than that to me. But I have had actors that have, said, I'd prefer not to do that show. I don't want to be associated. They're all trying to build a brand, they don't want to be, known as that. But again, it's like, okay, well, if you want to be squeaky clean, why are you doing anime in the first place? I mean, that's kind of a...
Catch
So,
22.
yeah, but, I haven't yet. I mean, that doesn't mean to say that there wouldn't be something in the future, you know, but right now, I've pretty much done it. There was one show that we were batting around at Sentai, and I can't even remember the name of it, but it was, I mean, it was like really, really racy. I mean,
Was
like,
it To Love Ru?
no.
Was it Pet Girl of...
I don't remember the name of it, to be honest with you, but it was like, I think it just had some like, you know, rape and just all kinds of, you know, rated R stuff. And we're like, who are we gonna get to direct it? And all the directors were like, oh, I won't do it. And then more importantly, those were, what actors are we gonna get? You know, because this was really outside the box. And we ended up not even doing it, which was,
Oh, wow.
I was grateful for that, you know.
Yeah. Mm.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had like a fight or anything during a job, for example?
That's a
Or-
good question.
Have we ever had a fight like I'm frustrated or she's frustrated?
Yeah,
and, like a
like
real
a-
fight, not a stage fight, but like.
Yeah, like a real fight. You guys disagree on something, and you guys are still on the job. So you
Yeah.
guys still have to work with each other.
We don't tell each other about it.
I've never, I've gotten frustrated.
Yeah, I think that like there are times when like I'm either not understanding what he's directing me to do, or I think I'm doing it, and he's like, no, you're not. Like there's just like can be miscommunication like between any actor or director, except the layer of it's my dad, and like I don't say it to me that way. Like you know what I mean? Like that's the voice you use when I'm grounded. You know what I mean? Like don't talk to me that way. So sometimes, yeah, but we don't really.
You're grounded. Stay in the booth.
But we can't really fight. Plus the engineer is in there, so it could be weird. Although Patrick would be.
But as a director, and just this is maybe it's because I'm older, more crotchety. I don't know. But as a director, we're so blessed to have amazing actors, my daughter included. But the Lucy Christians and the Brittany Karbowskis and the Adam Gibbs and the Scott Gibbs and, you know, the list goes on of just amazing actors, amazing talent. And when you get an actor that's not, you know, like they can't, you know, keep stumbling over their lines and stuff like that, it's no big deal. But it does get frustrating. You're just like, can't you just read the sentence? You know, it's like, but, you know, really the environment is pretty cohesive and copacetic.
And also, my dad and I don't really feel like we fight that much anyways.
No, we're
very similar.
We're
We're like
very
the same
similar.
person.
So, you know, I trust her instincts as an actor.
And I just realized the other day that you're kind of my momager.
That's going to go into the con horror story set.
And it's on
Your
tape.
momager.
Like, you know, Kris Jenner.
It's just getting worse.
Yeah, but fortunately we don't really fight, which is good because, you know, we travel so much together. Long plane rides, early.
We have had some fights, not in the studio, but we've had some fights for sure.
For sure.
As any parent and sibling would, or not sibling. There it is again, man. Another Freudian slip.
Oh my gosh. Another question?
Please, another question.
What's the best way, do you think, to get into voice acting?
Well, you would say have a father who's a director.
I normally, whenever I answer that question, I say have a dad who's all for one. I don't know. No, but take an acting class and then take it again and then take it one more time and then take another acting class and take it again and then take it one more time.
Get involved in theater, get involved in improv. It's about being an actor. It's not about, you know, anybody that comes up to me and goes, I can do a great Homer Simpson. Like, well, so does Dan Castellaneta. You know, and I think when he decides he's not going to do it, I think that's going to be the end of the show. So the main thing is being an actor. Your greatest asset that you have is your voice.
As an actor.
As an actor. Well, I'm just saying, but nobody has a voice just like you. So people go, I have a terrible voice, right? I don't like my voice. Like, well, You don't have a terrible voice, you have a unique voice. And you're right for something, I guarantee you. But you have to train. It's like your voice is a musical instrument. You can go buy yourself a $3,000 Les Paul and a $1,000 Marshall amp and pedals and switches and chords and Bluetooth this and take it home and set it all up. But if you don't know how to play the guitar,
Something that I've noticed, especially as more of a newcomer to the industry, is that directors are really starting to value more genuine sounding voices. I think it produces more like substance-based stories when it's not just like, oh, every hero character sounds the same exact way and every girl sounds the same exact way and they all have this like high squeaky voice and stuff like that. People are really invested now, at least what I've seen, in using people's natural, genuine voice. So a lot of times, like Dad does a lot of voices that are like, you know, which is cool. But a lot of times I get cast, and it's just my regular voice. I don't really, you know, layer anything on top of it. And so people will ask me to do the voice, and I'm like, you're listening to it, baby. That's it. I'm sorry.
but something like, we'll get your question in one sec, but something like, just to follow up with that, you know, when I started doing this 27 years ago, 1997, there were very few actors that were doing voice work in anime. There's a studio in Houston where I started called ADV Films, and there was a studio up in Dallas called Funimation. And that was it. Those are the two studios. Well, at the time, by 2000, ADV was the #1 distributor of anime in North America. This little old company out of Houston. And then Funimation got DBZ, and then they got Full Metal, and just, you know, and ADV became Sentai. And, you know, the amount of actors that are now in the industry is completely insane versus what it used to be. So to that end, you know, and I have the dubious honor of, according to Anime News Network, of being the most prolific male voice actor in North America.
That's pretty cool.
And it's top is Monica Rial, then Lucy Christian, then me, and then a bunch of other people. But it's because when I got into it, there just weren't many people doing it, and I'm a character actor, and so people would go like, I need you to be Farmer A, Soldier B, this character, you know, Shinigami, or you know, whoever it might be, and also be these other people, because I could do a lot of different voices. But now I've kind of settled into, you know, the All for One type, or maybe Crocodile or something like that. That's all well within my wheelhouse. But it's more important that they've actually got lots of other actors to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's, you know, now, like, I don't know if you guys got the chance to go to Bill Buth's diversity panel, but he was telling us again, we were all chatting after all of our panels yesterday, and he was telling us again, like, now, because, like, there's just so much more opportunities for everybody to be a part of the industry, you know what I mean? And, like, there's so much more opportunities to, like, because there's so many actors, to really search and find somebody that fits exactly what the part needs, which is really cool. And it's a lot more competitive, which is kind of scary sometimes. And, you know, some days I look at, like, the upperclassmen, which is kind of how I think of, like, you and Lucy and all of, you know, like, your
the
class.
flipping graduate students. It's weird to think, you know, to me, to have my daughter do this, and she'll do it for a long, long time, and she's very good. But I get people that come up to my table and they're like, you know, I listened to you when I was a kid, now I listen to you in this show as an adult. And it's just really, it's very humbling, but very interesting just to see. It's like, oh my God, 27 years, you know, and then to have her get into it, you realize just how prolific and how big this whole genre is. I mean, it's amazing. Mm-hmm. I go back to the conventions, you know, how many conventions are going on. But
I love so my dad and I, when we go to conventions, a lot of times our tables are right next to each other. and I'll like watch people like go up to his table and stuff like that. And like it makes me cry. Whenever I see people come up to his table and they're like, you know, like you changed my life, like you've been in my living room, like and a part of like who I am for like, you know, since I was little. And I was just like, that is so crazy that like you're a dad to so many people.
Well,
Like, that's so cool.
I play a lot of dads and a lot of bad guys, and a lot of times they're the same guy. But I actually pay those people to do that, so hopefully you'll hear them go, "You changed my life, Dad."
Oh my gosh, I teared up for that.
I know.
Yes.
But you're an actor. But I will say, very reciprocally, in
Not
the
a
same way, no, not a word. In the same way, when our tables are next to each other, it warms my heart when somebody comes up and they just go, "I love you as so-and-so." Because there's a difference. I've been doing it 27 years, you've been doing it 5 years, and it's really a wonderful feeling when you touch somebody's
soul
like that. It means something, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It makes me, when I'm signing an autograph and I hear somebody next to her table, she go, "Oh my God, Olivia, I love you," or even when she's not at her table and somebody comes up and goes, "Do you know when she's coming back?" I'm like, "She'll be back in just a minute." "Right, I'll wait." I'm just like, yeah. So one of our family things is, anybody watch The Office?
Big time.
So
there's an episode wherever Ryan burns something in the microwave and the fire department has to come and like take care of the fire, and the fire trucks show up and Dwight is standing there and he goes, "Yeah." Like he just like,
"Here come the fire trucks." He's like, "Yeah." So we do that all the time in our family. We just, yeah.
my littlest sister Tara started doing it first. She is the trendsetter in the family. And she started doing it like whenever Dad would fall or my brother would like slip.
She's got Schadenfreude or whatever.
I forgot the word already.
Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude.
Oh, you guys.
Schadenfreude. Yeah. And she'll laugh like this. She'll like if you fell out of your chair, she'd be like,
No sound. She suffocates for like 30 seconds.
"Breathe, Tara, breathe."
But we do that all the time.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, he answered the first one, but I have a second one, so it's fine. What character archetype do you guys both really like to play?
Good question.
Ooh, very good question. You want to go first?
Sure. My favorite character archetype to play is the sassy best friend.
The what?
The sassy best friend.
Oh, okay.
Which can fit a lot of different people. They don't always have to be best friends, but just like this sassy, like in the corner. I'm not really into like the ditzy, like girly girls. I want my girl to have some substance and I want her to have some attitude. I really like those parts. I really, really like those parts. And I think because I enjoy them so much, I end up just working a lot harder at them, like subconsciously, you know what I mean? So fortunately, a lot of times that I get cast, that is what I get cast as. I like to think of myself as the sassy best friend.
Certainly the sassy daughter.
Excellent. Excellent.
I've done a lot of things, everything from Lord Death to The Undertaker. But most of the stuff I do now is kind of in the realm of All for One, that sort of voice that's right in here, like this. And it's a lot easier for me to do. It doesn't strain my vocal cords. When I did Salvador, which I'd love to do, it would just rip my throat apart.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I would leave. I'd be up in Dallas working on it for like 2 hours and then would leave the session because the session was over because I was like, all right, thanks guys. I just had nothing left. But so I definitely like that, the voice range that I'm in. But I know Crocodile's coming back and I know, but those are all well within my wheelhouse.
What's Crocodile's voice?
Crocodile's like this. Very gravelly.
A lot of them sound
Big, So those are the ones I like to play. But I like to think of myself as a chameleon when it comes to voiceover, and I like to play all types of stuff that, where if a voice has to do this, or, like Doria or something like that. So, yeah, really, people always ask, like, are you afraid of ever getting typecast? And I'm like, No. As long as I'm being cast, that's fine. Yeah.
Question.
I don't really have a question. I was just saying that I think that like your point is like Death is like really cool because he has that goofy voice, and then he gets like really serious, like later on.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
cool. No, and that's why being the actor part of it matters so much, right? So like a lot of people can do a silly voice, but to be able to put the emotional emphasis and like make genuine connections with the other actors in the show and stuff like that, you need the training. You need the training for sure.
Yeah.
And Dad has it, big time.
It really is helpful. I mean, there's no substitute for it either. You know, you can't go take a 6-week acting class and go, okay, I'm ready. You know, I mean, this isn't rocket science or brain surgery, but it is a craft. It's a skill. You know, there are no numbers. You can't paint, you know, voice by numbers. And it's if you want it to be good, you know, any good voiceover comes from here. Okay, it's not just words you're reading off a page. It has to sound like you're talking to someone or you're telling somebody something, and that only comes through taking classes. But it's a very rewarding experience when you do something and you can, even it's voiceover, because the tricky thing about what we do in the voiceover world in anime is, you know, we're not on a stage, we don't get a set, we don't get costume, we don't get props, we don't get other actors to play off of. It's just us in a booth. Okay, that's one thing. Then we don't get just to make up a line, do it however we want. It has to fit in the box of lip flaps. You know, whatever those lip flaps do, we have to stay in that box. And so it really, you know, you have to get out all the emotions and all the feelings just through your voice. So you don't
And
have
timed right.
and that's to time out right, yeah. So you don't have the luxury of having, like I said, costuming, and nothing else can help tell the story except your voice. I mean, you've got video, obviously, that helps, and that's a very good, you know, if the like at Queen Echidna, you know, if she's like, you know, you're not going to go, hey, you know, you have to really let it out and match what's going on. So it's fun to be able to do all those different emotions and change voice, but when you do it and it really works, it's like very rewarding.
Yeah.
It puts a smile on your face.
When you like get in the right rhythm, when you fall right into it, the voice just comes out. It's awesome.
And you know, going back to the question, have y'all ever had a fight in the booth? You know, you're there, there's the actor, there's the director, and there's an engineer. There's 3 people. And the 3 of you are working together to make this product a reality. And you really want to work as a team, which is why we do things sometimes of leaving audio bomb, you know, like a Easter egg thing. We want to keep the atmosphere light and fun.
And united.
It can get, you know, frustrating. Like, I'll tell you, you weren't in there, this wasn't you, but somebody, my wife was in a car accident, and
She's okay.
yeah, she's fine, but she broke her arm. It wasn't her fault, and the other party, the other insurance company's denying responsibility. It's Geico. They're denying responsibility. Apparently, it is run by cavemen.
Yeah.
So anyway, the actor didn't do something the way I needed it done. And I happened to look down, my phone lit up, and it was a message from my insurance company going, Geico is still denying blah, blah, blah. And I was like, pardon me, I was like, fuck! And the guy was like, I'll try it again. Like, it wasn't you. It wasn't you. I mean, it was you, but not that. No. The engineer's like going, what is his problem? So you have to really kind of curtail it.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
Yeah, we'll get you, and then you.
More than 1 or 2.
We'll do it real quick.
Well, just maybe a quick one. As a voice director, who's your favorite actor that like nails it on the first take, every take?
Oh, yeah, you actually have an answer for this. It's not me. It's not me. It's not. It's Lucy Christian.
Lucy Christian.
Really? Okay.
Well, it's
She's
a tie between Lucy Christian, Monica Rial, and Brittany Garbowski. They are just so spot on. One time I was directing Monica, and
A great story.
it was a show called Yona Yona Penguin. It's a little children's movie. And we had recorded all the other actors. And she was the last one to come in. So the way we do it is we scroll a script and we just turned on the movie and hit record and then watched the movie while she did it. She messed
never
up.
stumbled
Like 500 cues, missed one.
Wow.
And I mean, then what we do is we run through the whole thing, and then we put it all together, and then we watch it again. You know, oh, we got to do that line quicker. We got to do that line faster. Oh, I couldn't. You kind of slurred through that word. Like, nope. One fix. It's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing.
She's incredible.
But they're all, and I will tell you this, Olivia really is. I'm not just saying this. Olivia, you are very good at reading through it. And the way we'll go through scenes, we don't preview them first. This is how we do it at Sentai. It's different at Funimation. But
This is a terrible way to get through all the questions.
come to my table, I'll finish the story.
Okay, let's try and get those other questions before we go. There's some on this side.
Does it ever happen, or has it happened, where, like, for instance, someone comes in, they have an absolutely just a stellar, amazing audition, like, just spot on, and then they're in the booth and just, you just basically end up regretting the choice of, like, when they got cast?
I've never had that with an audition. And everyone can have a bad day, you know. And you can be off a little bit. Like, I had one actor come in, and he couldn't get through his line. He kept stumbling, and he was beating himself up. And I said, dude, it's all good. Relax. We got plenty of time. Breathe, you know. And he's like, well, this is the last time I'm doing a morning job. And I'm like, that's fine. You can always do the afternoons. But it's all good. And we got through it. I have had actors, never audition that I regretted, but I have had actors, because a lot of times I'll just cast somebody. You know, it's a small role, it's no big deal. I just need to put somebody in it. And it was the first time I'd ever used this guy. And I kind of was under the impression he worked a lot, and he was from Dallas. And I said, yeah, I'll put you in the show, glad to. And he came down, and it was just horrific. It was, I mean, like, the line is, look out, they've all got guns, you know. Look out, they've all got guns.
Not good.
What? Yeah, okay, good. Now you know the line. Let's do it. Look out, they've all got guns. Okay, let's try it again. You know? So, yeah, it happens, but not often.
Another question?
You had somebody over here? Yeah, in the very back.
So
I
in the
gotcha.
last 3 years, did you have to like record anything in a non-studio setting, and what was like one of your biggest challenges?
I never had to do that. I never set up a home recording situation. Actually, I did do that, but it wasn't for anime. It was for something completely different, and it was awful. I hated it. But I was never one to set up a home studio. One of the things that I'm very proud of at Sentai is we did a lot of remote recording, but we also set up some protocols and safety measures where we could have people come in and go ahead and record. You know, I know it was like, oh, you're all mixing, but think about it. You got one actor in the booth, they're all walled up, so there's nothing getting out, you know. And then the director would sit and the engineer would be over there, and we had a movable wall that we put between us. And we did things like we would, instead of having actors back to back to back, we'd have like a 30-minute window. You know, like you work from 9 to 11, next actor doesn't come until 11:30. We sanitize the booth, we change out headphones, we change out pop filters. You know, we did a lot of that stuff, which we still do today. And it kind of was a cool little side effect, no pun intended, but It was a side effect of going through that pandemic, but I never had to do it, really. So I prefer working in the studio.
Me too.
versus-
It's better to work in person with.
I like to have
never
the
really
actor
liked to do
there.
it.
I'll do remote, we can do it, but it's a much better experience when everyone's all there together.
I think we had a question right here.
I was wondering what your guys' favorite roles for each other were. Like your favorite role that he's done and
That's
vice
fun.
versa.
That's a good question.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not kidding you, and I'm always blown away by what she brings, because she's done a wide array of characters. But I gotta tell you right now, my favorite is Echidna from I'm Quitting Heroin. She just, I mean, it was one of those things that I just cast her, I knew she was right for the part, but just when she came in and started reading her lines and we're doing it, the engineer and me, we're both just laughing like, oh my gosh. And for me as a director, first of all, as a dad, I was like, I'm so proud of you. But as a director, I was just like, man, I really made the right choice. I'm very, very proud of myself. I think I did good. But sometimes, you know, you get, look out, they've got guns. You know, you're like, uh-oh, what did I do?
For you, I don't know. I haven't seen the shows that much that you've done. So that's that. No, when I was growing up, Dad used to bring home this show from work called Michelle, and he was this like, he was just in the show. But I really like that. That's like a really special. Yeah, one of the henchmen. It's just a really special show. Like, you know, I grew up with it. I like that, you know. But I really like your Lord Death voice. I think that's cool.
Thank you.
Sure. I mean, he does all the voices at home. You know what I mean? So they've gotten a little
annoying.
It's a different person every time you walk in the room.
No, it's always the same person.
Guys, thank you so much. How about a big hand for Olivia? Thank you all so much. Thank you for having us at NDK. This is so much fun. We're so grateful.
Yeah, this is really such a
y'all
great
have been
convention.
truly amazing.
Thanks for coming and
All
hanging
right.
out with us. Come
I
see
think-
us at our table.
Yeah,
It's
we've got
really
about another hour, I
hour.
think, before the hall closes. So come by and say hello.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Morning, Maya.